who do you think is best fit to run the country for the next 4 years? That is our job as voters. All of this stuff is a bunch of nasty BS. All of it. Who's best fit to run the country?
So this CNN anchor just tried to corner Dana White on the idea that Kamala Harris is a diversity hire. Now, that is something we all know to obviously be true because Joe Biden openly said that she was a diversity hire, but apparently when you point that out as a Republican, that is racist. How dare you use Joe Biden's own words against Kamala Harris? But nonetheless, we're going to react to this interview and segment here today. So folks, if you enjoy the content, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you are new. But without further ado, let's just get right into this because it is quite entertaining to watch. Check it out.
I think people expected it to get nasty now that there is a new head of that Democratic ticket. It's the Vice President, Kamala Harris. You know, you've joked before that politics is way nastier than sports or the UFC. But what we're seeing, I mean, there's a labeling of the Vice President as a DEI hire. You yourself have prided yourself on giving both men and women opportunities at your organization. What do you think of this message that attacks the race and gender of an opponent?
So really quickly, before we get into Dana White's response, let's just provide the receipts. And there's going to be quite a few receipts in this video because when CNN anchors say, how dare you call Kamala Harris a diversity hire? Well, let's listen to what Joe Biden had to say about his idea to hire Kamala Harris. Because let's keep in mind, when conservatives say that she was a diversity hire, we're not making that up. We're just using Joe Biden's own words. So take a listen.
To me, the values of diversity, equality, inclusion are literally, and that's not kidding, the core strengths of America. That's why I'm proud to have the most diverse administration in history. It taps into the full talents of our country. And starts at the top with the Vice President.
It starts at the top with the vice president. So again, just keep that in mind. When you wonder why some conservatives are saying she's a diversity hire, it's because Joe Biden literally said she was a diversity hire. But that said, okay, let's get into this interview. Just wanted to provide those receipts.
Yeah, I don't judge people by their politics and you know, who they vote for or any of that stuff. And listen, I don't know Kamala. She seems like she's a nice person. You know, I have nothing against her whatsoever. And like I said, I'm not political, but do I think that she is fit for the job? I do not, personally.
But it's not necessarily about the policy. It's the approach to attacking one. I mean, I know that you are very well versed in what it's like to have a matchup, and people are going to go at each other for the sake of the sport and entertainment. But when it comes to attacks particularly, I mean, there was that quote from J.D. Vance, who is his running mate, talking about childless cat ladies. I mean, these are not things that are in line with enveloping perhaps women into the fold, which is something you have always stood for, you say, in your sport. Why shouldn't that be the same in politics?
This is coming from the party that constantly attacks straight white men for being straight white men. Just keep that in mind. That's very rich, right?
Yeah, well, listen, politics are the most disgusting, nasty. It's atrocious what is said in politics. And the things that are being said on one side are being said on the other side, too, about Trump and about, you know, his choice for vice president. It goes both ways. This isn't like, oh, my God, look what's being said about Kamala. It goes both ways. They're both saying it. And like you said, it's already heated up and gotten nasty. And like you said earlier, it's only going to get nastier. That's politics. It is what it is. And it definitely goes both ways.
I don't know that it's going both ways to have the childless cat lady comment or a DEI hire. Who's calling you think that Vice President Kamala Harris is calling J.D. Vance a DEI hire, Dana? Come on.
Okay, so let's again go to the video review. All right, let's do the instant replay. Let's bring up the receipts on this because, yes, it does indeed go both ways. And here is just one minor but telling example of it. Take a listen.
We messaged about this a little bit this weekend. I keep trying to point out to people not to demonize any one group or any one ethnicity, but we keep thinking that the biggest terror threat is something else. Some people who are marching, you know, towards the border like it's imminent. And when the last time they did this, a couple hundred people came, and they, you know, most of them did get into the country. Most of them got tuckered out before they even made it to the border. So we have to stop demonizing people and realize the biggest terror threat in this country is white men, most of them radicalized to the right. And we have to start doing something about them. There is no travel ban on them. There is no ban on, they had the Muslim ban. There is no white guy ban. So what do we do about that?
The biggest terror threat in this country is white men. We have to start doing something about them. Again, you say it doesn't go both ways, but how dare you? How dare you say childless cat lady? I mean, you have the other side saying that white men are the terror threat and we have to do something about them. But it doesn't go both ways. It's only the right wing that says things like this, even though when the right wing says it, it's far more benign than literally saying that white men are the biggest terror threat to the United States. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Again, we're providing the receipts because it's very relevant here, in my opinion.
But either way, she's going to say other nasty stuff about both of them. It goes both ways. And as voters, what we need to do is cut through all the BS. And you have to look at who do you think is best fit to run the country for the next 4 years? That is our job as voters. All of this stuff is a bunch of nasty BS. All of it. Who's best fit to run the country? You as a voter, that's what you need to decide. Not, oh my God, he said this, and oh my God, she said that. There's going to be a lot of that over the next several months. And especially the media. Cut through all the BS that the media on both sides. You guys are really bad. Fox is bad. Everybody's bad. Cut through the BS and vote for who you think is the most fit to run the country.
Yeah, case in point on the media front, Don Lemon, former CNN anchor. Just keep that in mind.
That's our job as voters.
Well, look, I don't wear pearls. I don't pretend to clutch them and pretend that I'm shocked by every nasty insult that is waged against another person. But I think your point, though, about the American people wanting to know who's best for the country, this is the issue. When people are focusing not on policy positions, but personal attacks that have nothing to do with what voters want to hear about, that detracts from the experience of voters making a decision, and that's the problem. And I'm going to just know when you say you guys are terrible, you clearly don't mean Laura Coates.
Okay, well, first of all, I would point out that the whole Kamala Harris is a diversity hire thing is not a central talking point of the Trump campaign. It's just something that people bring up, usually on Twitter. It's objectively true, which is why I'm not going to stand here and condemn it or say we shouldn't say things like that. But the idea that, the Trump campaign is focusing on that and not the substantive radical policies that Kamala Harris supports, that's just not true. We've done several videos lately reacting to recent Trump campaign ads. You see, is he attacking her for being a diversity hire, or is he attacking her for her radical record on policy? That is number one. Number two, though, is that this reminds me of the Hillary Clinton act all over again from 2016, but worse. Hillary can say all sorts of things, right? Hillary can say that the Trump supporters belong in a basket of deplorables, but the moment you say anything in response, it's you're sexist, you're racist, you're only attacking her because she's a woman, and because Kamala Harris is a quote-unquote black woman. The entire circus act here is incredibly worse. So you want to talk about having a substantive debate on the policy? How about stop using Kamala Harris's gender and race as a shield? But we obviously know that they will not do that. And lastly, I think it was very telling here that this CNN anchor, you heard Dana White, he did not say he supported those talking points. He just said, look, I'm just not going to comment on it. It's not my argument. Here is my argument. I think it should be about the policies and the people. We shouldn't be talking about things like this. It's just random political mudslinging. But she keeps trying to corner him. She keeps trying to drill this point home. It just tells you a lot, because the reality is this: CNN, the Democrats, the media, the left, they want to hyper focus on race and gender in this election because they know it's the only thing Kamala Harris has to run on. In a debate of policy, she loses, right? We know what she has said in the past, but that's why precisely they want to just ride this, oh, she's a black woman, how historic would it be to elect one? It is repeating the mistake of 2016 all over again, and I truly do not believe Americans are going to buy it. But with that said, folks, let me know your thoughts on this in the comment section down below. Be sure to leave a like on the video, subscribe if you are new, and until next time, God bless and peace.